Like everyone else, I tend to avoid conflict. Even though I've learned to face it and see it through, it's always hard. It's easy to blame this tendency on our fight or flight reflex, but the strength of its presence in our lives can be blamed on our silent reinforcement of this avoidance as a strategy for survival, and even as a principle by which to live. Avoidance of conflict is even seen as polite or dignified in some regions of the world. Somehow we think if we avoid the conflict, we avoid the tangle. This is the root of denial. Imagine the toddler who breaks his cereal bowl and then covers his eyes to make it go away. To think we can avoid the tangle is just as infantile. Yet we all do it. Just last summer, someone hurt my feelings. Our relationship was immediately tangled. I was caught off guard and pulled back into my hurt. Every time we saw each other, I could feel the pull of the tangled knot between us. More than this, I realized his capacity to be cruel. Our relationship has changed. This, of course, happens and sometimes needs to happen. But though I removed myself from a hurtful relationship, I never faced the conflict between us. Even more instructive is the fact that by not facing this conflict, I let my self-esteem get tangled with his cruelty. Now, months later, I feel the pull of this knot in my self-worth, which, if honest, traces back to the illegitimacy of the hurt I received and let take residence inside me. Now I'm spending time alone with my tweezers of introspection, trying to untangle this small but irritating knot in my heart that is taking up more space and attention than it deserves. The longer we ignore the tangled net, the harder it is to untangle. We've all struggled with the tangled hose or extension cord left in the garage, and how it braids and seems to tighten into itself. It doesn't take long before my frustration in trying to free the coils has me slamming the hose or extension cord on the garage floor, as if that will break the tangle loose. It's important to recognize that avoiding conflict increases our own capacity for violence born out of frustration and impatience at a situation we've ignored for too long. When fishermen spread their nets, they each take one end of the net and back away from each other until the net is fully open. Then they can see the knots and tangles more easily. Once they've repaired it, they walk the open net into the water together. What this tells us is that even when having the courage and commitment to face conflict, we need enough distance between us so the net of relationship can untangle and open fully. Once untangled, the net is used to gather food from the deep. Likewise, the net of relationship is untangled so it can feed us. I'm trying to learn the patience of a fisherman, trying to see what is tangled within me and between us, and slowly and gently undo the knots, one by one, all to make the web whole again. So when I find myself in difficult standing with someone, I try to approach that person, if it's safe, to take their hand, look them in the eye, and as I would invite someone into a space I seldom share, I aim to say softly, "Our net is tangled. Can you feel it?"